Today I'm going to show you exactly why your home blood pressure cuff might be lying to you and giving you dangerously high readings that aren't even real. Many seniors living with hypertension feel like they are doing everything right, yet the numbers on that screen keep climbing, creating a sense of panic that actually drives the pressure even higher. It is a frustrating and uncertain place to be when you don't know if your machine is a lifesaver or a source of false alarms, especially when you are trying your best to stay healthy. I remember a man named Frank, 74 years old, who came to see me with a notebook full of terrifyingly high readings that had him convinced he was on the verge of a stroke. He was experiencing constant lightheadedness and a racing heart, mostly because he was so worried about what the next reading would say, and his previous doctor was about to double his medication without checking how he was actually using the device at home. I want to let you know that your doctor might have been giving you the wrong information about how to trust that machine in your cabinet, as many professionals don't take the time to explain the common mechanical errors that happen every day. Before we dive in, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what your usual top number range is during your home checks, as I want to hear your experience with these devices. The first thing you must check is the physical size of the cuff, because using a wrap that is too small for your arm is the most common reason a monitor will lie to you. This matters because a tight cuff has to work much harder to cut off the blood flow during the measurement, which the machine interprets as higher pressure within your arteries. Frank, the 74-year-old gentleman I mentioned, was a former manual laborer with broad shoulders and thick upper arms that he had maintained through years of gardening and walking. He was using the standard medium cuff that came in the box of his digital monitor, which barely made it around his bicep and frequently popped open during the inflation process. Because the cuff was struggling to get a grip, his readings were consistently 20 points higher than they actually were, leading him to believe his heart was in much worse shape than it truly was. Once we measured his arm and ordered a large cuff specifically designed for his size, his numbers dropped instantly into a safe range, and his anxiety disappeared along with his headaches. This supports steadier readings by ensuring the machine is measuring your biology rather than the limitations of the fabric wrap. To ensure your cuff is not lying to you, you need to take a simple measuring tape and find the circumference of your upper arm halfway between your elbow and your shoulder. Most standard cuffs are designed for arms up to 13 inches, but many seniors require a larger size to get an accurate reading without the machine over-squeezing. If you feel the Velcro straining or if the cuff feels like it is pinching your skin painfully before the measurement even begins, it is a sign that the equipment is not the right fit for your body. You can easily find replacement cuffs online or at a local pharmacy that plug directly into your existing machine, and this small change can often prevent the need for increased medication. This is easy on the joints and doesn't require any medical training to fix, yet it is a step that many people over 60 completely overlook. Another helpful step is to ensure that you are placing the cuff on bare skin rather than over a sleeve, as even a thin shirt can create enough of a barrier to throw the sensors off. Most older adults can try this safely and will find that a properly fitted cuff feels much more comfortable and less aggressive during the daily check. Subscribe for more simple blood pressure tips. It is important to remember that these machines are calibrated for a very specific set of circumstances, and any deviation from those rules will result in a number that doesn't reflect your actual health. When the cuff is too small, it creates what we call cuff hypertension, which is a mechanical error rather than a medical condition. This is a very common situation where a senior might be told they have resistant high blood pressure, when in reality they just have a sturdy arm that needs a bigger wrap. If you have lost or gained weight recently, your cuff size needs may have changed, so it is worth rechecking your arm measurement every few months. This supports steadier readings and gives you the confidence to know that the data you are giving your doctor is actually correct. You can do this at home today with just a piece of string and a ruler if you don't have a flexible measuring tape handy. 2. You must always ensure that your arm is supported at the exact level of your heart, because letting your arm hang down or resting it on a low surface will cause the cuff to lie to you. This is a matter of basic physics, as gravity pulls the blood down into your arm, increasing the internal pressure that the sensor detects during the measurement. Martha was a 69-year-old woman who loved to take her blood pressure while sitting on her favorite low sofa in the living room, resting her arm on a small coffee table that sat well below her chest level. She couldn't understand why her morning readings were always in the 150s, even though she felt perfectly fine and was eating a very clean, low-sodium diet. When she brought her machine into my office, I had her sit in a proper chair and placed her arm on a stack of books until it was level with her mid-chest, and her reading immediately fell to 132. She had been worrying for months over a high number that was simply the result of where she chose to sit, illustrating how a simple postural mistake can lead to a lot of unnecessary stress. Here is another simple habit to implement. Find a table in your home that allows your arm to rest comfortably without you having to lean forward or reach down. If your table is too low, you can use a firm pillow or a few thick books to prop your arm up until the cuff is horizontally aligned with the center of your breastbone. Make sure your palm is facing upward and your hand is relaxed, as clenching your fist or holding your arm stiffly can also send a false signal to the machine. You should feel completely supported, with no muscles in your shoulder or arm working to hold your limb in place while the machine is running. This supports steadier readings by removing the influence of gravity from the equation, giving you a pure look at your arterial tension. This is one of those small details that your doctor might have been telling you wrong, or perhaps they simply forgot to mention it during a busy appointment. Comment your age and usual top number range if you've noticed your readings change depending on where you sit. Recent studies have shown that for every inch your arm is below heart level, your blood pressure reading can increase by as much as 2 points. This means if you are measuring on a low side table, you could be seeing a bonus 10 points that have nothing to do with your heart health and everything to do with the position of your chair. This is why many seniors find that their numbers are different at the pharmacy kiosk than they are at home, as those public machines often force you into awkward reaching positions. By standardizing your posture at home, you can create a reliable baseline that you can actually trust. One more easy change is to make sure you aren't holding your breath while the cuff is squeezing, as this internal tension can also drive the number up. Just breathe naturally and let the table do the work of holding your arm up. This supports steadier readings and prevents the false alarm spikes that cause so many seniors to worry needlessly. 3. A hidden reason your cuff might be lying to you is the state of your bladder, as having even a moderately full bladder can cause a significant spike in your systolic reading. This happens because a full bladder triggers the sympathetic nervous system, putting your body into a stress mode that tightens the blood vessels and increases the heart rate. Harold was an 81-year-old patient who was very diligent about his health and would check his pressure every morning immediately after his first cup of coffee. He noticed that his numbers were always at their highest during this time, often reaching the 160s, which made him feel like he was starting every day in a state of emergency. I asked him if he was going to the bathroom before or after his measurement, and he admitted he usually waited until after so he wouldn't disturb his morning routine. I suggested he try going to the bathroom first, then resting for 5 minutes and then taking the reading. The very next day, his morning spike vanished, and his numbers returned to his normal baseline of 138, all because he stopped putting that internal pressure on his nervous system. This is a very simple change that most older adults can try safely to ensure they are getting a clean reading of their vascular health. Always make it a rule to empty your bladder before you sit down for your daily check, even if you don't feel a strong urge to go. The body is very sensitive to internal pressures, and the simple act of holding urine can raise your systolic number by 10 to 15 points without you even realizing it. Once you have finished in the bathroom, walk slowly to your testing area and give yourself a few minutes to settle into your chair before you even put the cuff on. This supports steadier readings by removing a physiological multiplier that doesn't reflect your actual resting state. Subscribe for more simple blood pressure tips like this one that help you take control of your health. Many seniors are surprised to learn that such a small thing can have such a large impact, but your body is a complex system where everything is connected. When your bladder is full, your brain receives a signal that it needs to hold on, which is interpreted by the heart as a need for more vigilance and higher pressure. This is a common situation that leads to masked hypertension or false readings that can confuse your medical team. By simply taking a moment for yourself before the measurement, you are clearing the way for the most accurate data possible. Another helpful step is to avoid caffeine or nicotine for at least 30 minutes before you use the cuff, as these substances are known to tighten the blood vessels and create a temporary lie on the monitor screen. This supports steadier readings and ensures that you are seeing the true effect of your lifestyle and medications. One more easy change is to make sure you are in a quiet environment when you are taking your reading. If the television is loud or if someone is talking to you, your brain is processing that information, which keeps your blood pressure from reaching its true resting level. Tell your family that you need 5 minutes of quiet time for your health check, and you will likely find that your numbers become much more consistent. This is easy on the joints and is a powerful way to advocate for your own well-being. This supports steadier readings by creating a sacred space for your heart to rest and recover. When you combine an empty bladder, a quiet room, and a supported arm, you are finally giving your blood pressure cuff the chance to tell you the truth. If you know someone over 50 who could benefit from this, share this video. This supports steadier readings and helps prevent the white coat anxiety that comes from seeing a number that is higher than it should be. 4. A hidden source of lying numbers often comes from how you are sitting, specifically focusing on your back and your feet. This matters because when your body isn't fully supported, your muscles have to work to keep you upright, which requires more blood flow and naturally increases the tension in your arteries. Joyce was a 72-year-old woman who preferred to take her readings while relaxing on her soft, plush velvet sofa. She would lean back into the cushions, with her legs comfortably crossed, thinking that being relaxed would give her the best results. However, her machine was consistently showing numbers that were 12 points higher than they should have been. When we moved her to a firm kitchen chair with a straight back and made sure her feet were planted flat on the floor, her readings settled down immediately. By crossing her legs and not supporting her spine, she was physically squeezing her veins and forcing her heart to pump against extra resistance. This supports steadier readings by allowing your entire circulatory system to remain open and unobstructed. To ensure your back and feet aren't causing your cuff to lie to you, you should always choose a chair that provides firm support for your spine. Sit all the way back so that your lower back is resting against the chair and keep your shoulders relaxed rather than hunched forward. Keep both feet flat on the ground and avoid crossing your ankles or your knees, as this simple leg position can raise your systolic number by nearly 10 points. If your chair is too high and your feet don't reach the floor comfortably, use a small footstool or a thick book to support them. You want your weight to be evenly distributed so that no part of your body is straining to maintain your balance. This is easy on the joints and ensures that the blood can flow freely from your heart to your legs and back again without any physical kinks in the system. This supports steadier readings and prevents the machine from picking up on muscle tension instead of your true heart health. Another helpful step is to remain completely still while the cuff is inflating and deflating. Even small movements like adjusting your glasses or nodding your head can create a change in the pressure that the digital sensors detect. Most older adults can try this safely by simply resting their hands in their lap and looking straight ahead with a soft gaze. If you find it hard to sit still, try to focus on the feeling of your feet on the floor and the chair against your back, letting your body become heavy and grounded. This supports steadier readings by removing any noise from the measurement process. Subscribe for more simple blood pressure tips that help you get the most out of your home health tools. It is these small, structural adjustments that often make the biggest difference in the accuracy of your data. 5. One of the most common reasons your cuff might be lying to you is the restless reading error, which happens when you don't give your heart enough time to reach its true baseline. This matters because any physical activity, even just walking from the kitchen to the living room, causes a temporary rise in pressure that is perfectly normal but doesn't represent your resting health. Albert was a 67-year-old who took great pride in his yard and would often come inside after a few minutes of light gardening to check his stats. He was worried because his numbers were always in the 150s, making him think his heart was under constant strain. I explained to him that he was essentially measuring his active pressure rather than his resting pressure. A recent study published in 2024 revealed that resting for less than 2 minutes before a measurement can result in a systolic reading that is nearly 10 points higher than if the person had rested for a full 5 minutes. Once Albert began sitting quietly in total silence for 5 minutes before pressing the start button, his readings dropped to a much more accurate 128. To fix this, you must implement the strict 5-minute rule for every single measurement you take. This means sitting in your testing chair in total silence, without your phone or the television on, for 5 full minutes before you even put the cuff on your arm. During this time, you can practice the simple, calm breathing we discussed earlier, focusing on slow, even breaths that tell your heart it is time to rest. You can do this at home by setting a small kitchen timer or just watching the clock. But do not skip this step. Even if you feel relaxed, your internal systems need that time to settle into a true baseline state. This supports steadier readings and ensures that you aren't being treated for high pressure that is actually just a normal response to walking across the house. Most older adults can try this safely and will find that their readings become much more predictable and less jumpy from day to day. If you are in a rush and try to take your reading quickly, you are almost guaranteed to get a number that is a lie. Think of your blood pressure like a lake. If you have just thrown a stone into it by walking or talking, the water is rippling and you can't see the bottom clearly. You have to wait for the ripples to stop before the water becomes clear and still. This is exactly what the 5-minute rest period does for your blood vessels. One more easy change is to take your measurement at the same time every day, such as once in the morning and once in the evening, to get a sense of your natural rhythm. This supports steadier readings by removing the variables of daily life from your tracking. If you know someone over 50 who could benefit from this, share this video. This supports steadier readings and helps you build a record of health that you and your doctor can actually rely on. Finally, a powerful same-day lever to ensure your cuff tells the truth is to practice 1 minute of focused, quiet breathing right before you hit the button. This isn't just about relaxation. It is about physically lowering your heart rate and opening your vessels for the measurement. As you sit there, close your eyes and take 4 seconds to breathe in through your nose and 6 seconds to exhale through your mouth. Imagine the tension leaving your chest and moving down through your arms and into your fingertips. This simple routine can act as a reset button for your nervous system, clearing away any lingering stress from your day. This supports steadier readings and is a wonderful way to advocate for your own health every time you sit down to check your numbers. Long term, you should also consider taking your home monitor with you to your next doctor's appointment to have it calibrated against their professional manual equipment. This ensures that the sensors in your machine are still accurate and haven't drifted over time. Most machines need to be checked every year or two to remain reliable. Also, focus on the trend of your numbers over a week rather than any single high reading, as one lie from the machine shouldn't define your health. By keeping a simple journal and following these rules for posture, rest, and cuff fit, you are becoming the master of your own health data. This supports steadier readings and gives you the peace of mind that comes from knowing the truth about your heart. If you know someone over 50 who could benefit from this, share this video and subscribe for more simple blood pressure tips.